Hello and welcome to this video where we're going to cover patch 12.17 and the teams most affected by it. I've been doing this throughout all of spring and summer. More people are interested in these patch videos, which is nice. I do not cover patches like your regular content creator. I definitely look at this. Sorry about the cat's bell in the background. So the way I do this video is I look at everything black and white. A nerf is a nerf, a buff is a buff. If that's what they say, that's what they say. I understand that some things, oh, well, that's actually not a buff, that ends up being a nerf, and vice versa. Well, we're not getting in the nitty gritty of this. This is face value, buffs, nerfs, right? And not really role specific too much. This is just to make it go across easier, and it's a lot more interesting to think of, oh, will the meta change if this champion is buffed and it can be in 3 different roles and this and that. So it is something fun to think about. And given that this is the first of what will be 2 patches that will affect worlds that we will not see, well, actually the second of 3 patches that will affect worlds that we did not see any pro games on, it'll be interesting. So how I do it is teams that were buffed, most are on here, and teams that were nerfed, most are on here. Obviously, I think there's 11 teams on here of the 25 left. If your favorite team is not on here, they are in the middle, probably slightly buffed. These teams were the outright teams that are hypothetically not thrilled with this patch. This patch hurts them more than it helps them based on champion usage. In the description, you'll find 3 links: Twitter, Discord, and YouTube memberships. Twitter and Discord self-explanatory. YouTube memberships, become a member for $3. You get a little badge in the comment section. It helps me keep the channel alive. $10, you get extra content where I do my predictions for the winners. Like tonight, I am putting out a video where I'm going to predict who wins between the LEC and LCS matches. And that is in addition to my roundup that comes out. That's just, you know, everybody sees the roundup. But if you want to know my predictions on winners, that's a $10 tier if you use it for esports, gambling, betting, and the like. So, that's the thing with this, though. We look at this. How do teams fare after this buff? If a buff occurs, I look at the last 3 years of a given player's champion usage, champion pool usage in spring and summer, and say, okay, well, was it used quite a bit at all? Like, was it used a handful of times in a given split? Okay, well, maybe this team wants, maybe this player will fall back on it if it's been buffed now, right? And it's just a hypothetical for fun, really. And then nerf is a lot clearer. If a champion's been nerfed, I will include it on here if a player has played it this recent patch. If that team has relied on it at all, not just one pick, but quite a few picks, then it's on here, right? And that's why these teams nerfed. These teams really utilized those picks quite a bit in summer, and we'll see what happens, what they keep, what they have to dump off of their composition list. So buffs. Team DRX are one of the happiest teams with this patch. So Barrel is one of only 2 supports that have played enough Maokai in the last few years for me to justify putting Maokai down as a potential pick. Maokai's been reworked as a jungler, but they also think that maybe it could help support Maokai. Obviously, that is far out there. That is out of the box. But in best of ones, do you go out of the box in a play-in game to try and see if it works? Maybe. Beryl also has played Rel and Set in recent history, so that's a thing. Ezreal and MF for Deft. Obviously, Deft has played everything under the sun. Zika played TF in the last couple of years. Juhan plays Hecarim, and Kingen plays a bit of Camille. So all those champions have been buffed. Obviously, some people are going to say, well, that's not a big buff, or that's not a big nerf. Well, it's black and white. That's what the point of this is. And then in the comment section, we can, comment down below which champions you think will come into the meta for Worlds. As of right now, obviously, there's another patch between now and then. And what do you think will drop out because of a nerf? But Zika, though, may have had TF buff, but he is one of the players with the trifecta of nerfs. Zika played a lot of Ari, Azir, and Sylas this past patch. This past split. And not every mid laner played a ton of it. Everybody played a little bit at least, but not many played the majority of, if you think about it, if they played 15 of their 40 games or 30 games on these 3 champions, I included it, So, I mean, minimum, it was included. Damwon, Kia. Rel for Kellen is a pick that he may bring out. MF and Ezreal for Duck Dom. TF and Cassidon for Showmaker. Cassidon is Showmaker is the only player to play some Cassidon in the major regions over the last few years at a high level. I think he picked it maybe 5 times in a split, which, if you really think about it, how many Cassidon games have you seen outside of Showmakers? I mean, is it even double digits? In pro play in the last 3 years? I don't really think so. So he relies on the Cassidon, which, will it be a pick for him? Who knows? Graves Hecarim for Canyon, which Canyon has done better on previous metas. This meta did not fit him, and I'm sure he's thrilled about a little bit of a change. Camille and Set in top lane for Nuguri and Birdall. That is important. And then nerfs. They played a bit of Lucian Nami, so Nami's on here. Ari is on here. Silas, Trundle, and Wukong. So Trundle and Wukong, 2 picks that Canyon picked. But he was not great on this in this meta, so does it really hurt him that much that it may shift? Probably not, but that's the whole black and white thing about this. Like, he's probably happy Trundle is nerfed, because now he can do other things. Ari and Silas in mid lane, so it's a clean swap for Showmaker. And then like Nami for Kellen. Gen G. Rel for Lahens is a thing. Misfits, not Misfits, good God. Well, rest in peace, right? Rest in peace, Misfits. Misfortune and Ezreal for Ruler. TF for Chovy. Graves and Hecarim for Peanut. Camille and Set for Doran are all buffs, and we may see them incorporated. I know the Camille buff is big. We probably will see Camille at Worlds as of right now. Chovy is hurt by this patch, just like Zika. We have Azir, Ari, and Silas all nerfed. He played quite a bit of those 3 this past split. And then Wukong for Peanut, the only carry really in the meta. Now Hecarim probably takes Wukong's spot. But, yeah, I mean, Chovy can play everything. So, I mean, does it hurt Gen G as much as it may hurt DRX? Probably not. But it still hurts them that you lost all 3 of these, well, you didn't lose them. I mean, people are going to still probably pick Silas and the like. But they're not as strong as they were before. The one minor region team on the buff list is GAM Esports. GAM Esports actually were tied with DRX for the most positive impact by this patch. So, Kaya, there you go, Kaya. In top lane, plays Camille, right? Set is a triple flex option. Obviously, Set has not been buffed to be able to play everywhere, I imagine. But Kaya plays it in top lane. Katie will play it in mid. And I believe Bai may play it at support. It was either Bai or I think it was Bai who plays it. I don't think Levi plays it. So that's a thing. And if there is a team that's willing to do things that are kind of out of the box, it's going to be a VCS squad, and it's going to be GAM Esports or Saigon Buffalo. So this is a thing that we actually have to kind of respect the way GAM Esports, this may affect them. They're willing to do anything. Speaking of that, there's Graves, and then there's Nocturne and Hecarim for Levi, arguably their best player. So, Nocturne is on here. Only a few players can say they have a Nocturne buff, and he is one of them. He played a lot of it in playoffs. He played it 4 times. I don't think we saw 4 jungle Nocturnes in the 4 major regions combined throughout playoffs. So that is a thing. Rel and TF. So Rel for Bai and TF for Katie. Sivir and Wukong are nerfs. Obviously, I hadn't mentioned Sivir before. It's because DRX, Damwon, and Gen G hadn't played a ton of Sivir. They played some, but not a ton of it. And then Wukong for Levi. C9, the only LCS team on the board. Happy with the Ezreal buff for Berserker. TF for Jensen, Graves, and Nocturne and Hecarim for Blabber. Another jungler happy with the Nocturne buffs. We've seen a lot of Nocturne out of Blabber in years past. Maybe this meta can fit him better and C9 get even better for Worlds. They are hot right now. Set and Camille for Fudge and top. But then we have Sivir, Berserker. Sivir is nerfed. Azir for Jensen. Wukong and Trundle for Blabber also were nerfed. G2, Ezreal and MF for Flakked. TF for Caps. Rel for Targamas. And then we have Set being buffed. Triple as well. Wonder has played it in the past. Yankos has played it in the past. As well as Targamas. So that is a thing. Not Wonder. Broken Blade. Wonder's over here. That's why I'm thinking Wonder. Rest in peace, old G2, right? Another rip on this video. But, Set, possibility of triple flex, right? It got buffed. Did it get buffed enough? Probably not. But, it's nice to think about. Camille for Broken Blade. That's a big pick. Graves and Hecarim for Yankos. And then, nerfs. Azir, Ari, and Silas all were picked by Caps at least 3 times this past split. So, that is a concern. Trundle and Wukong for the jungle for Yankos. Sivir and Nami for the bot lane. Flakked played a bit of Sivir, and they also played a bit of Nami. So that is a thing to think about down in bot. RNG, the last team on the buff list. Rel and Set for Ming. Ezreal and MF for Gala. TF for Xiaohu. Graves and Hecarim for Wei. And then Camille and Set for Breathe. So everybody is happy about this patch on RNG. RNG do probably need a little buff going into Worlds. I think they are clearly the 4th best team in the LPL right now. In the 7th, well, them and Dom 1 are pretty close in RNG T1. But they're definitely not at the upper tier of the Eastern teams going into this. Do they probably get out of groups? Yes, and this is going to help them. Excuse me, not only that, actually Wei struggled throughout summer in my opinion. So dropping the Trundle and Wukong, probably for the best. Sivir, Nami, Azir, and Ari all nerfed. Sivir being nerfed for Gala. I mean, really RNG were not great this split. They really weren't, so changing the meta may be for the better. Nami, Azir, and Ari also, like I just said, nerfed. So we do see, you know, nerfs across the board. But you will notice not a lot of Renekton on here. Renekton was the only nerf in top lane. I think I've only got it mentioned once over here. You know, not a lot of people really played it enough to end up on the list. I mean, there are only like 6 nerfs, I think. But that's the thing. There were 6 or 7 nerfs. So what team is upset by this? Well, top esports aren't probably happy about it. They're obviously elite players that can play a ton of different champions. That's not the point of this video. But top Set is an option for Mark. Mark has played Set in the past. We have Ezreal and MF for Jackie Love. Graves and Hecarim for Tien. Obviously, elite players. They are happy about that. But top lose the Nami option for Mark. Sivir for Jackie Love. Wukong and Trundle for Tien. And then Ari and Silas for Knight. Both are dropped or nerfed. So are they going to be dropped is up in the air. But top, don't play a lot of the champions that were buffed over the last couple years. Really not the case. Wayward obviously is like a rookie pretty much. So Camille, I mean, I don't have his LTL stats on me to look that up. But we're looking at it. We're saying to ourselves, well, Knight isn't a big TF player, apparently. Rel is not a big thing for Mark. You know, stuff like that is just not really the case. Camille is not a big, like I said, Camille, Set, not big picks for Wayward. So, you know, top may not be thrilled about this. Fnatic, we got Rel for Hilly. Hilly doesn't play a lot of Set or Maokai. Maokai's pretty fringe. But Rel, we got Misfortune and Ezreal for Upset. TF for Humanoid. Graves and Hecarim for Razork. And then Camille and Set for Wonder. Quite a few options here for Fnatic as they try and open up their champion ocean to try and get the pressure off of bot lane to carry them to victories. Sivir and Nami both nerfed. That hurts them more than other teams. Lucian Nami was a big pair for them, and without the Nami, are they even going to bother with the Lucian? I would argue not. Sivir, Azir, Ari, Silas for Humanoid. Humanoid gives the trifecta nerf, which is not good. Wukong and Trundle for Razork. This meta has done really good things for Razork. We'll see how this affects him. How good is his Hecarim, pretty much, is what this comes down to. Isurus Gaming, the one of the 2 minor region teams on the nerf list. Camille, Maokai are for ADD in top lane, the Korean import top laner. He's played more Maokai than pretty much anybody over the last couple of years. He played like 4 times 3 years ago, so does it become viable again? Graves and Set in the jungle. So this is kind of weird, right? Set jungle is not probably a thing, but it's nice to consider. Grell played quite a bit of Set a couple years ago, which is not expected, right? You wouldn't have expected that, but it's something to note and fun to think about. ADD played a lot of Renekton. He played enough Renekton to end up on the list. So that means he played it 3 or 4 times when it was meta for the last month of the split. Wukong and Trundle in the jungle for Grell. Azir for Seiya and mid. Sivir for Gavado. And Nami for Jelly. So those are all nerfs. And then Fenerbahce. I'm going to go Fenerbahce. FB. It's between them and Istanbul Wildcats this week to figure out the TCL champion. If they go to Worlds and somehow upset Istanbul Wildcats and continue their miracle run, 12-17's waiting for them, and it's kind of scary. So, Bayo has played Ezreal in the past. He's played Misfortune once, but not enough to end up on the list. Played a lot of Ezreal, though. Wukong and Trundle are nerfed for the jungler. Azir and Ari are nerfed for Stillnum. Oh, Seongwon. Seongwon is a Korean import, and he is the jungler for this team. So he is hurt by the Wukong Trundle nerfs. Then again, Sivir for Bayo. Azir and Ari for Seiya. Not Seiya. I don't know who their mid laner is. Oh, Stillnum. I already mentioned it. This team's got me thrown off because I just thought about it when I'm doing this. When we go over these buffs and nerfs, right, when we're going into Worlds, I'm thinking to myself, all these teams are really good. All these teams won with these champions. Like, we said Damwon. Jeez, my ear just popped. Sorry, hopefully that wasn't loud. Damwon and RNG. 2 teams that we look at as teams that are, well, they actually are probably better than what their record indicates. Like, this meta did not fit them. They got through it. They got to Worlds, but it doesn't fit them like a glove, right? When we think of DRX, we say, well, DRX, they went 9-9, and towards the end, they're heating up. They're winning best of 5s, but how good are they in best of 1s? 9-9, right? At the LCK level, of course. But I think about this team, and they're nerfed by this patch, but they went 7-10 during the regular split. And they're on a crazy run, don't get me wrong. The bot lane meta has fit them. Bayo in bot lane was one of my top 5 bot laners after minor regions were done and my minor region wrap-up video came out. But if they were 7-10, maybe the meta wasn't their friend, right? So if the meta changes, maybe they're better. You know, something to think about. But nevertheless, thank you for sticking through this video. Obviously, there are speed bumps along the way, but that's kind of the deal. That's kind of this content. Like the video if you like it. Subscribe to the channel for daily League of Legends content. Later today, my roundup will come out where I go over the games for tomorrow briefly. And I think I'm going to do a little bit of news because I haven't done a roundup in a week. And a lot has happened. And news and notes are part of the roundup. So we'll have something to talk about in that section of it. But follow the links in the description for my Twitter. Join the Discord. Become a member. And thank you for watching.